Hey everybody, it's the Nitty Professor here. For those of you who expressed missing Paris or any cat the other day, you'll be glad to know that she's very close by and likely to make an appearance. So in any case, the topic that is top of mind for me today is all I want to do is knit. And I'm just curious how often you feel similarly. Now, there she is. I know some people knit and maybe it's somehow a challenge, or they have carpal tunnel, or they're in a project that is giving them a headache and they have to frog it, and then they're like, nope, I'm not going to knit anymore. Oh, there's another cat. That's Smaug. But and for me personally, so in the morning all I want to do is write. I'm on volume 7 of my novel series and still working with my agent to try to find a publisher, still threatening to just publish it myself. But after I'm done, after I've done my work, my grading, translating, whatever, this afternoon is meetings. Then all I want to do is knit. That's like, but especially now the weather is really wintry, even though winter's still a few weeks away. But the temperature like rose above 30. That's a 40-mile-per-hour wind blowing out there. So the temperature might as well be 0 again. And then I sit inside, I'm like, all I want to do is knit. So I've been doing some of that. We're going to talk about this book in a minute. Hey Paris, you got a nice tail. She's getting into my knitting because she wants me to knit too, and then she can be on my lap and wave her tail around and make me knock my stitches off. But I thought I'd show you an accomplishment. So I was talking the other day about second sock syndrome, and look at that. Hey Paris, you're kind of in the way. Got a first sock, got a toe. I actually managed to start this toe, and I mean, I think this is like 2 inches on that baby, right? If I stretch it enough, right, Paris, with her tail in it. It's got some of her fur mixed in with it. But I'm really proud of that. So that was fun, and that got me started. I was like, well, I knit 1 sock toe, so guess what? I deserve a treat. And so I balled up that gorgeous gold and turquoise antique colored skein of yarn. There we go. Delicious. And I started knitting that sock. So last night I got home from something. Hey, no, you can't have my sock, Paris. No, no good. And I was like, all I want to do is knit. And so I made some progress on this one too. I think it's really turning out nice. It's going to be quite the beautiful pair of socks in 9 months or so when I have those done. And so that progress feels good. Have that in my Cascade yarn bag. Look at that. Yes, I have bought Cascade yarn in the past. If you want to do a big project on a budget, Cascade is pretty good yarn to go to because it's really affordable. And I'm making progress on this. This is the second sleeve, believe it or not. Almost done with this ball of yarn. Look at that little baby. Almost done with the sleeve. So maybe about, well, let's call it 3/5. So I'm making progress. But in addition to these wonderful projects, I just keep thinking about all the yarn that I have waiting to be knit up. Here's the body. So the body's been waiting for a while. Hopefully I'll be able to do a video about this sweater fairly soon if I don't knock all the stitches off here, which is kind of a risk because it's like I was talking about the other day with those circular needles, and you only have one and you're like, it's gonna pop off. Now I could put some ends on there. I'm kind of cavalier. Yeah, I don't always do things the way I should, but in any case, make sure I'm not wreaking too much havoc in here. I've been known to rip double pointed needles out from the stitches that they're holding, and of course we don't want that. So anyhow, the free needle is indeed the free needle, so we're all right. But I start dreaming about all the other projects that I look forward to working on, partly because every time I go to retrieve a knitting project, I've got like a whole, room full of yarn that I'm looking at and dreaming about and thinking about, well, that'd be another great way to escape the cold weather and all the work and the stress and stuff. On top of everything else, I'm renewing my study of Braille. I did Braille transcriptions, one of the reasons why I have a blind protagonist in my novels, and so I'm redoing that whole course, and it's fun, but again, it's work. So I got out some yarn. You saw Smaug. He was, oh, here's another cat. Look out, Ember. So I'm just gonna I'll grab Ember here, and she's in my novel. But I have this whole bucket of yarn. So I mean, I look at this yarn and I'm like, damn, I want to do something with that yarn. That's some really nice yarn. Hey, Ember. Got limited row here. I've got dogs, cats, knitting projects, yarn, barking, all the rest. But in any case, yeah, just really want to dig into this. I see all this yarn and I'm like, I could make this, I could make that. And this isn't even yarn that I bought. This is just yarn that I inherited. People are like, oh, you knit and we see your stuff on Facebook and all that. So my grandma passed and has this yarn, or so-and-so is destashing, the yarn needs a home, and I'm like, sign me up. So especially if it's good yarn, it's hard for me to say no. Consequently, I have Ember. I have a pretty big stash. Ember had confrontation with my son's husky dog yesterday, so we're giving her the kid glove treatment. She got a scare. But a lot of this, what I have here, is worsted. So I don't know if you want to call it Paton or Patons or Patons. It's a French brand. Let's see here, Ontario. And I think most of this yarn is manufactured. Well, actually, this is made in Turkey. So in any case, made in Turkey, but it's a Canadian brand. Classic wool worsted. I've got all kinds of skeins in here. I have this beautiful burgundy color. It's really pretty. And some leftover blue probably from, hey, Amber. Cat crossing. Yeah, come on. Keep going. Keep going. There you go. Leftover from a previous yarn project, which I probably always showed you. Got this beautiful sort of olive brown color. And that I must have gotten at Goodwill. Basically, this is a whole bin of Paton. I'm just going to call it Paton. Why not? One of these days I'll do a video in French. Unfortunately, my French isn't as good as my German, so it'd be a risk. But I have this burnt orange. And I've got these really cool stripy ones. Classic wool. This is their merino. And again, mostly inherited or leftovers, right? I could do something with that. I've got red, olive, yellow. Let's see what else is in here. It's kind of this is a very similar. This is from Brown Sheep. It's their nature spun. But, you know, it's basically the same thing. I mean, there's zero reason why I can't put these two together. They're both the weight of 4, and they're all wool. And I've got some nice white to contrast it with. So this yarn is like beckoning to me. It's like, knit me, knit me, knit me. Do you ever feel that way? It's like, man, that yarn's just calling to me. And it would be so fun. That's why I'm the queen of whips. I keep casting stuff on, you know, thinking about what I want to do next. And the way I knit, you know, I knit to relax. So I just knit whatever the heck I want on any given evening. If I want to start a new sock, even though I already started 14, I'm going to do it because that's what I want. I'm not making money off of it. I'm just trying to get some endorphins going. Have, you know, some nice tea, maybe a little flavored whiskey, something. And then my mind starts, I'm surrounded by books too, so I'm thinking, well, maybe I could use that yarn for something like this, Dogs on Sweaters. This is such a cool book. And I have dogs. It'd be wonderful to do it. Like, I'm like, does this use worsted weight wool? You know, so I start looking and look at the gauge, and I'm like, do I have to do a swatch? And that's gonna hang me up, and it's a lot of planning. I have to have energy to plan something new. So on the one hand, I really want to do something new, but on the other hand, I don't have the mental energy with all the Braille and the meetings and the grading and the student needs, and something's wrong with the website. It's hard for me to even contemplate planning something new and engaging in a new project where I have to figure out, you know, the the gauge, the measurements. Fortunately, I have done worsted weight sweaters, so a lot of times I use a pre-existing sweater as my swatch. That's like, yep, I did a swatch, got a whole sweater. This is my swatch right there. So if all I have to do there is, you know, count the number of stitches that I already used on that sweater with that weight of wool, and then I can go from there and do some math, and I can probably just adapt, you know, these patterns. Look at all those. I really want to do something. And, you know, this is intarsia, and that's another thing. I'm like, I haven't done intarsia, so I have to learn how to do that. I've got an idea. And here's something else. I should do cable knitting. I mean, worsted weight wool, it really is a great weight to do vibrant cables. My son is after me to do, you know, a sweater with something like this. I just think that's gorgeous. And I know how to do cables. I did a whole scarf with reversible cables, so I learned how to do it. I learned what needles I prefer, and I think it's something that I could manage, but again, I have to think about it. So I see the yarn, I want to do the stuff, but I'm like, I gotta learn something new. Gosh darn it, it's not relaxing. And then I just do garter stitch. Yeah, I'm in it for the yarn, but boy, this, you know, if I could get comfortable with this kind of thing, I think it'd be extremely rewarding. And I know a lot of people, that's like all they knit. They're in it for the texture. As you can tell from the videos I've made so far, I'm definitely in it for the color. But I'm not opposed to texture, especially writing a blind character who knits. You know, she's definitely in it for the texture. She knows about color. She understands color. She wants to wear color. But as far as what she can access with her remaining senses, tactily, texture is it. Here's another book. I've shown you all this book. It's been a while. So, but this just... The patterns in here are kind of spectacular. So this is all in Danish, and it's finished sweaters. I bought this in Copenhagen, and I'll just try to, you know, give you a little overview of what we find in here. And some of them are just to die for. I'm like, I want to make that. I like the guy's vest in the middle, and I don't know if I would make the vest necessarily. I mean, I could, but that's a really cool all-over design. But then again, I'm thinking like, man, it would just be so hard to follow that pattern. Here, let's look at this otter sweater on page 48. That just looks so, it's so unusual. You don't see this all the time. Otters on a sweater. And it looks really awesome. Look at those otters. That's so cool. And you can tell they're in the ground. You've got the roots descending. That's such a cool design. Really beautiful yoke. Again, Finnish designers, Danish patterns. I'm sure I could run these through AI and figure out how to do it. Especially, you know, if they're bottom up. I have yet to do a top-down yoke sweater. I probably will one of these days. But, and there's some hoodies in here as well. I don't know if I can, look at these beautiful stripes. Wouldn't this be a great way to use a lot of like remnants? Because I could, you know, I could adapt this color scheme. I could add in more colors. I could do the whole Marie Wallen thing. Like, you got 20 colors, you know. I probably, because I asked myself, do I have enough yarn for the body where it's like 2/3 or 3/4 one color? And then I have 3 skeins and I'm like, probably not. But if I'm only doing like half in one color, then it might work. It might work just fine. I'm trying to find, I want to find, there's one hoodie in here. I'm trying to figure out what the pattern is on it. Let me see if you can help me. Oh, here's one. 146, it's got foxes, or no, actually I think they're wolves, but I'll show it to you. Isn't that beautiful? It's a hoodie. That would be so fun. And I wear hoodies all the time. I'm like, I should knit hoodies, because then, you know, I wouldn't have to wear the fleece that's sloughing off and ending up in the ocean. This is the one I was thinking about. This one is a little bit tricky with the photography that they have, because they have her wearing a jacket and a skirt, and they're very similar, but there's a close-up of the hoodie. I'm trying to figure out what animal that is. So I can definitely tell there are legs, and I don't know if those are like bones, if it's supposed to be, you know, kind of Halloween-y. I don't know. But I want to make it. But again, it's a challenge. So I'm going to leave you though with, here's the picture again of, that's like more of the whole jacket that she's got on there. I really like that. I would probably use different colors. I'm already knitting something in gray. I just showed it to you, so I don't need to know to knit something else in gray. But I bought this book. Have you ever heard of this? Hen knitting? The idea behind this is kind of like a couple of the sweaters that I've showed y'all. where you sort of take motifs and just calculate whatever your needs are on the fly and figure it out. And so that's like the whole premise behind hand knitting. And I'll show you a couple of examples here. Some of these motifs, I'm like, I wouldn't do that. But the overall effect is what I'm after. I think I could use a lot of different colored yarns. What do we have, like there, half a dozen colors at least? Don't scratch on the woodwork, kitty cat, thank you. Our woodwork is sort of toast in this house. I got 6 cats. But that sweater is really nice. Here's a cool kid sweater. It just looks like so much fun. That'd be fun to knit something like that for your kid. I don't have grandchildren yet, but my daughter's threatening, so we'll see. Let me find a couple of others. They have all kinds of ideas in here. Different animals. They've got tractors, bicycles, flowers. This one's really cute. So I think I might, in planning my next sweater, because I have 4 sweaters on my needles right now. So a couple of them, they're gonna be a few years. They're gonna take a long time. But hey, kitty, hey, gotta make your mark on my poor house, silly cat. I'm seriously contemplating using this book for inspiration. There's one with horses and a horse. Don't have any horses, but you know, you never know, right? Could make a pillow. Somebody suggested I should do household goods. We have so many pillows, but I don't know what I would do. I would turn this into a laptop cushion. That's what I've done. Like I've done a needlepoint where I turned it into a laptop cushion. I could do that with knitting too, because I use a laptop a lot, partly because I have bifocals and I have to look through the lower lens. They have socks in here. So in any case, the whole idea behind this hand knitting is that you sort of, it says, the title is Knit Yourself In. Knit Yourself In. I'll try to remember to put a link to this book in the show notes. Creative knitting, design your own pattern, find patterns on the internet, use old motifs, new motifs, choose your own colors, and the designs are for inspiration. So I really like this book, and well, both of these pictures speak to me. First of all, we've got the earlier versions of your emotional support chickens, but then we've got more inspiration here, which is yarn. And yarn, when I'm not thinking about my novels, I'm thinking about yarn. Except when I have to think about work, and then I try to get through that and do a good job, and then I come home, and then I think about knitting. Wow, this one is kind of cool. Look at that. That looks kind of awesome. That's really fun. I think my kids would appreciate that one. So anyhow, I'd be curious to know if you're kind of like me, that, you know, all you want to do is knit, and you're just, you know, hard-pressed to get knitting off your mind sometimes, especially when you've got a lot of stress going on, and it's winter, and the weather is crappy, and, you know, your son's getting paid low wages to get told that his metrics are off. It's a lot going on. You know, life is challenging, and sometimes you just have to tune it out and knit yourself in. So with that thought, I'll sign off, and be back soon with some more German, and after that, some more English. Y'all take good care. We'll see you soon. Bye.